Hello everyone, this is Johannes.
And this is Cinema.
And you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And today we are taking a look at Unconscious Mind.
This is a new game from Fantasia Games and designed by Yoma, Sax, Laskas and Johnny Pack.
It plays from 1 to 4 players in about 1 to 2 hours.
This game is coming to Kickstarter the 8th of November, which is probably around the time you're watching this video. And this is obviously a prototype copy of the game, so everything you will see is prototype components, even though they do look very good. And things might change. Like, I know already some development has happened after they made these preview copies. So just so you know it, that we can just talk about how it is in the game box that we got from the publisher. Unconscious Mind is a worker placement game with a pretty interesting theme. You are one of the associates of Sigmund Freud, and when you do the worker placement, it's basically sitting around the table, drinking coffee, eating cake, and sharing your ideas with the other people. This is all the theme, of course. You're not actually... You could drink coffee and eat cake while you play the game, but you don't have to. It's not like it's not said that it doesn't say in the rulebook that you have to do that. The game is all about that, doing different actions, and then you will be moving around in Vienna, visiting locations, doing actions, and you will be going to your patients. They have an appointment with you. You will go to the appointment and you will talk about their dreams, because they have weird dreams and they don't really like themselves, and you can make them happier and give them therapy. So you have the therapy points. You're trying to kind of use these dreams by using insights of different kinds to talk about their dreams and make them feel better, which in game terms is basically paying resources to move on a track and trying to make your patients completely treated, give them or therapy, done with the therapy, and then they will give you a bonus and some victory points. It's all about getting victory points.
Yes.
I think that is kind of what you do in the game.
Yeah.
It's a worker placement game with many different mechanisms here and there, so we're not going to go into a long overview. As always, since this is a preview, there's obviously going to be a Kickstarter video with more information. You can go and check out the Kickstarter page, and probably other videos have more of a learn to play or a playthrough. I know Paul Grogan did a learn to play or a tutorial and playthrough, so you can go check that out as well to know more about how the game plays. We're just going to talk about how it feels and what we like and what we might not like about the game.
Yes, the game looks very good.
Yes.
Even though it's just a prototype game, it looks amazing. So if this in any way reflects how the game is going to look, completely finished, I'm super happy.
It would be weird if they just made it look way worse.
Yes, I love the dual layer player boards. It's nice to have something like in place. I like that, and I also like the little resource markers, which are sparkly and fun.
Yeah. Sparkly and fun.
I really like that they have used 2 different artists in this game. So in the real world, Vincent Dutrait.
The real world. It is the real world. It's not
but it's in
real
board games.
fake world.
It's Vincent Dutrait has done the artwork. He has done everything.
You know him, yeah.
He's a very, very talented artist. And in the dream world, it's Andrew Bosley that has made, for example, Everdell and Tapestry.
Yes, the one that you said the first time you saw the artist. That's the person who did Tapestry.
That is Tapestry.
I really like that. Like Vincent Dutrait is some of my favorite art. Vincent Dutrait. We should maybe do a top 10 board game artists. Do you want to see it? Let us know. But I really enjoy, as you said, it makes it feel that it's actually 2 different worlds.
Things, yeah.
It would be fun to see Vincent also do the dream world, but now it feels like there's 2 kind of separate things. Saying the dream world, that is the dream cards, the looking into the different dreams that they have, like abstract things, many weird things on those cards.
Those are fun.
Really, really love the artwork. As I said, the components is good quality, but we cannot know exactly how it will look in the final one, but if it's going to be at least something like this, it's going to be really, really great. The game has a rulebook, but it's not... I don't have it here because it's still in a prototype in just digital. I will say it's a good rulebook. It makes sense. It's so far easy to learn. Cannot really talk about it because it's going to be a different rulebook than the rulebook you will see. This is really a draft rulebook that I've been reading.
Yeah.
There's no play rates in the game.
No.
I would hope that they include them because we would like play rates in all games.
Yes.
It's not one of the games where I feel like you have to have a play rate because your choices aren't that huge, but as always, I'd rather have a player aid that people could choose not to use than
Player aids to the people.
not
That is
have
a
a
new
player aid
hashtag.
as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. We played this game with 2 and 4 players. With 2 players, it took us 1 hour 20 minutes, and with 4 players, it took us about 2 hours 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So I feel like the time that it says on the box is doable.
Yeah. The learning game is always going to be longer. We played a learning game with 2, and that was 2 hours.
Yeah.
But that is checking the rules and all of that. So and getting it down.
I was asleep. Yeah.
Yeah, which you are when we learn rules. But we got it down like 40 minutes after the first play with 2, which was really, really good. And then playing this 1 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, 20 minutes with 2 players, it makes it go into that category of my favorite games. Like 2 players, so 1 hour 15 minutes to 1 hour 20 minutes is my sweet spot for that kind of, like, it's so much stuff to do. So this adds up in the category for me, like Cost of Burgundy, Grand Austria Hotel, Woodcraft, which I just played, which also was like an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Other games like that, just like perfect length with 2 players. Didn't feel like the 4-player game was too long.
I agree. I like that you have some blocking of the worker spaces with 2 players. So the board was like more alive with 4 players, but I really didn't mind the blocking, like the 2-player version of this game. I really didn't mind.
No, it works.
Fine.
We're going to talk a bit more about that soon, but I feel like the 4-player game can also be shorter if you play it more. So it's a game that you can easily play 2 hours with 4 players with no problem.
I agree.
So let's start talking about the worker placement part, because it's kind of like you sharing your ideas is the thematic thing.
Yeah.
You have these speech bubbles. Just going to say it now. We're probably going to forget to talk about the theme.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it now. The theme is great.
Theme is awesome.
Theme is awesome, and I feel like it's a well-integrated theme.
Yes.
I don't look so much for it when I play these Euro games because I'm so into all of the Euro stuff. So just probably other reviewers like Thinker Themer is probably going to talk way better about the theme than we are going to do. So go watch their review of the game as well to know more about how the theme integrates. It's going to be way easier that way.
Yeah.
Just going to put it up front now so you know that I really enjoyed the theme.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk a bit maybe like this is the theme talk. This is going to be theme.
I
like it. I think it's a great theme. I think it's a different theme, and I think that it feels well integrated for a big heavy Euro game.
Yes, gameplay. No.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think also that the names of the resources, being passion and freedom and stuff, I don't think about it when I play it, but it makes sense that you want these aspects when you're treating patients, for example.
Yeah. So let's talk about the worker placement part of the game.
Yeah.
There's not actually that many spaces that you can go to with worker placements. There's actually only 9 spaces. But all of the spaces have 4 different spaces that you can go to that space. So you don't put your workers on a space in this game, you put it kind of beside it. And with the speech bubble, and it's pretty smart actually, you point like when you have a speech bubble, you have this kind of little this thing which comes out of the mouth that is pointing to the action, and you can, depending on the row of actions, you can either put 1, 2 or 3 to do the action 1, 2 or 3 times, and then if I do it 1 time, next time it's my turn, I can't do the same action again. So I'm kind of blocking it for myself. So if I want to do it 2 times, I need to do it 2 times at once. So you cannot kind of like do one action, then do another action, and then do the other action again, because that might sometimes be better, so you have to kind of time that all around. There's only, as I said, 9 actions in the game, and we're going to talk more about the difference, and 3 of them are actually kind of the same action. So there's not actually that many different actions in this game, so we're going to talk more about the different actions soon. One thing I want to ask you about, because I just thought about it now, did you feel in the 4-player game that you were, I'm not going to say ever, but I'm going to say like, did you feel like blocking was a big thing?
I think it's a thing, but I think it's a thing in a different way, because it's not always what action is blocked, because the action in itself are seldom blocked, I felt like.
Yes.
But it was the space I have to put to point to that wasn't ideal. We'll get to that.
Yeah, because it matters depending on a bonus action or like a secondary action you can do. So I agree with you. This felt more for me like it is a worker placement game, but it felt more like a action selection game than a worker placement game.
Yeah, I can agree
because
with
in
that.
worker placement games, it's always like, oh, please don't do that action, please don't do that action. And
Nothing
here,
of that.
each action can be done 4 times. So there was probably never a time I couldn't do the action I wanted, but there was sometimes I couldn't place it in the row I wanted
Yes.
of the points.
Absolutely.
So I think that's interesting to know that it
Yeah.
feels more than as an action selection
Yeah.
than it does a worker placement.
Yes.
You have you noticed a little bit. You have these resources which are called insights that you use to treat your patients. That's
Yeah.
very thematic, and you have it in this wheel. So how
Yeah.
does that work? And do you enjoy the wheel?
I enjoy the wheel. When you get certain types of insights, you put the little resource markers on the what do you call it, level that you get.
You have kind of like an inner ring, a middle ring, and an outer ring,
Yes.
which the middle one being the worst, and then better and better.
Yes. So and you can also get symbols and action that let you upgrade your existing resources, and then you really like push them to the next ring and
Level.
makes them better. I think that is nice. And
Yeah.
if you're empty of these little tokens, you can't get more resources. You have to trade them in.
Yeah, you could basically just
It's
throw away
limits.
resources, but so it's kind of like that limits you as well. And there's 3 different colors, so this means that it's 9 different resources that
Yeah.
you have to manage. Sounds like a lot, but it's mostly just like it's there. I can upgrade it, or I can spend it, or I can downgrade one to move another.
Yeah.
There's some ways to use like coffee to change it from one ring to the other, so you change the color of it. And there's ways like it feels like a nice manipulation puzzle for me.
Yeah,
I really enjoy that part of the game, and like much of the game is having the right resources at the right time.
Yes, absolutely.
So let's talk about the different actions in the game.
Yeah.
As it said, there's kind of like 3 different actions in the game.
Yeah.
Like there's some actions on the board that just gives you resources and upgrades resources.
Yeah.
Those are kind of like, well, talked about those.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Vienna board.
Yeah.
You are going to be moving around this kind of, it's a rondel. It's not kind of rondel, it's a rondel. And you have your little professor, and also Freud is going to be moving around the rondel.
Hello, Freud.
There's 6 spaces on the rondel, 2 in each kind of region with different colors. And some actions you do makes you either move Freud, or move yourself, or move to where Freud is. And then you get to do the actions there. So how does that work, and what do you think?
I think the rondel is fine. I think it lets you sometimes do actions that isn't available on the board, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
And where Freud moves also gives you more opportunities to jump to him and maybe do an action that wasn't available to you before.
Yeah.
What makes it interesting is that if you have a lot of tags in your personal space, it adds to, if it corresponds to the action you want to do in the city, you get to multiply that action. So it can be potentially very powerful.
What is tags?
Tags is symbols that you can get.
Yeah, so there's 6 different symbols, and you can get them from goals, from patients that you have treated, from newspaper cards, and from treatises, which we're going to talk about soon.
Yep.
And as you said, when you build that up, you can then get to do the actions more times. So you can do them 4 times, but the number of times you actually get to do it is like 1 for your professor, 1 if Freud is there, and then for the tags. So if you go somewhere alone, Freud is not there, and you have 2 tags of that symbol, you get to do the actions there 3 times.
Yes.
So, and the actions are very simple. Like there's basically, you get resources, and so there's 3 different resources from the 3 different colors. You get coffee, and you get some upgrades, and you get to use a like middle resource of the specific thing for the region to get a therapy point.
Yes.
Which moves the patient track 1 down, so you don't have to treat them so much in your office hours, basically.
Yeah, another action you can do is you can publish newspapers, and it's an action space that lets you draw newspapers, and there's another action that lets you actually publish them.
Yeah.
And together with the publish action, you can also use your newspaper articles to publish treaties, and you can also cite all other people's treaties in your own treaty. You give them some points, but you also get to publish a treaty, which nets you points.
Or a treatise.
Treaties.
Because a treaty is something completely different.
Yes.
We're not doing treaties in this game, but it's very weird for us because those 2 words are very similar.
They're so similar.
But yeah, so it's very simple. As I said, you play those cards. The cards can have tags. The cards will probably give you a bonus when you play it, or they will give you a bonus when you play it. And then there's small, medium, and large treatises, which give you different points. And also, I like the fact that you can cite other people, but you have to do it from right to left. So if I'm missing a red, and you have one which is red and then green on the outer side, I cannot cite it if I not also take the green and
I
give
don't
you
know
more
what
points.
theme is making that logical.
No,
but
that is
it's just mechanism.
When are you starting to look at theme? You never. That makes so weird for you to say like that's not thematic.
But I
you
think
never
it's
said
cool
it
that
anywhere.
you're actually, that makes sense. You can cite other people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that is a cool
And
theme implementation.
I like that they put the like right to left thing to make it so that you not can just take whatever you want and
I
make
agree.
it a bit tighter.
Absolutely.
I really enjoy that. Another thing you can do is to learn techniques. Thematically, you will learn new things, new ways to treat your patients, new ways to do your work, and then you will use your player board. You start with one of these technique tiles, and you have space for 9 altogether, and these are rows and columns. Every time like you take one of them, there's 3 different action spots. One just lets you take it for fewer coffee, one lets you get like a bonus, and one lets you get a bonus and activate the technique tile. Then you place it into your little tableau. You have a 3x3 grid, as I said, and when you fill out a row or a column, you're going to unlock one of these resource markers, because on the resource wheel you start with 6 blanks, which will always be there, and then one of your color. And you can get more of your colors, but when you do different actions, for example publishing a treatise, you will need to put one of your on there, so you have less now resource possibilities, and you spend them for points instead, and they're going to be there for the rest of the time. And all of these are basically, the technique tiles are basically changing a coffee for a resource, changing this resource to 2 of those resources. Like all of them are exchanges, and trying to make an engine basically in that thing.
Yes. After you have put some of your thought bubbles or
Ideas
on the board, you can choose to take them all back, like a reset action. And
you can do it earlier as well.
Yeah, you can do it earlier as well. And when you do that, you get a bonus. You can also choose to treat your patient, and that is also interesting. After each turn that you've placed an idea, you can choose to, after that, treat a patient or get another bonus. Could you talk about the bonuses?
Yeah, it's not really like, there's basically 2 secondary actions that you can choose from and the secondary action is just different when you do a placement or a recall action. So when you do a placement, you can either then move your inkpot. And as I said, it matters on which row of the board you place your worker, even though you can do like 4 different spaces for the same action or idea. I meant not the worker, idea. And then you get to move your little inkpot 1, 2, 3, and 4 spaces. And when you move that, then you're going to end up most of the time on a row of these technique tiles that you have maybe got earlier, and then you get to activate them. And so the placement or the movement, how many you get to move, and you also always have to move the max amount, that makes it very interesting to choose where you place your workers, because you might really need that specific row to be activated, but you have to move 3, and the action you want to take only gets you to move maximum of 2, because it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that is a very, very interesting mechanism.
Yeah, I think that is one of the most interesting things about this game, because it gives you another layer of thought that you have to process when you're placing these ideas out on a board, but also like the order that you want to do it in. For example, okay, I'm placing it here, I can move my inkpot 2 times. That is really good for me, but to actually get all the bonuses, I need to spend some resources first. So I would like to treat one of my patients first, or if I spend my secondary actions to treat a patient now, then I'd have no resources to treat him when I take things back, because I get the bonus then also. That is really interesting to me.
So if you choose to not move your inkpot, then you can treat your patient.
Yeah.
And that is super, super simple. You basically have these layered dreams. You're going to start with 2 dreams, and the top one is going to show you what resources you need to pay and what you get from it. And it's going to be therapy points and usually some bonus. It might be points, it might be a bonus action. And so it's very simple. Pay the resources and move back on the therapy point track. If you move to the yellow gold heart, you get to take off the grief layer, which is these transparent cards you put on top of them, which makes the patients different each time. So a patient can then be a different patient basically, or a less difficult or more difficult patient, because you get the therapy points depending on how many are on the patient card and the grief layer.
I love the artwork there as well.
Oh yeah.
I really love the transparent card with the like, you know it when you see it. It's like this.
I don't
abstract,
remember the name of it.
Yeah, this abstract like mirrored picture that you show to patients and be like, oh, this is
What
an
is
elephant,
this?
or this is my hopes and dreams.
I know what it's called, I just don't
Yes.
remember it. And then when you trigger the grief layer, you will take it away and you will get some more points and a bonus. And the, as I said, like the choices of building up
Yeah.
or using to get
Yeah.
those points and to maybe get the patient out
Very
to get the special
interesting.
ability
Yeah.
is super, super cool. When you do the recall ability or the recall action, then the bonus you can take is not to move your inkpot, but you get to take a bonus tile on the board or the Vienna board. You're going to take the bonus tile and you will either then use that to get a simple bonus, or you will count up your tags, count one for you and one for Freud if he's in the same region, and you can get basically victory points and a
Yes.
therapy point. And then also on those, you have to place your resource markers out there as well.
Yeah.
So there's many different layers of the. I think maybe for me, one of the things I enjoy the most is that choice of those two paths.
I agree.
Like, do I want to go to my client and do a therapy session, or do I want to do these other bonuses?
Yeah, that is the thing that also it feels very meaningful when you do it, because the game can suddenly be over very fast. The game is kind of a racing game because you feel
You
like
move around the track and I try to get to the goal.
yes. Now, throughout the game, you will get reputation, and reputation moves you up on the reputation tracks. Which, if you're highest, you will get more points for the stuff you've done throughout the game at the end of the game. But Freud also moves when everybody moves.
Because you can only be one Freud, and he has the
Freud
most
is
reputation of
always
them all.
ahead of you, and when he reaches 10 reputation,
Yeah.
which that all the players have gained 10 reputation in total,
Yeah.
you will end the game.
Yeah.
And you feel like there's very important that you've done the most. That makes sense.
Yeah, because you want to win the
That's how
game.
you win the game. But suddenly, in the beginning, you're feeling like it moves very slowly, and then everybody is suddenly building themselves up and getting a lot of reputation, and then it's over.
Yeah, so this game really has that race feeling. Like it feels like many of these I play many games like this, where you feel like you have all the time in the world, and then suddenly it's over. And it's one that I felt, especially you, we talked about it after we played it 2 times, and you were like, that makes sense. It's more of a race. Like you feel like you might, for example, in a 2-player game, you might treat 3-4 patients, and in a 4-player game we treated like 2 or 3 patients each.
Yeah.
So it's one of those games that I felt it might be the first time you play it, you might have this, it's going to be a game all about treating these patients, and that's what we're going to do all the time, and treat so many of these patients, and then you might feel like, that's not what happened, and then it's suddenly over. And you talked about it being a race for those reputation points. You get those like from just some small things here and there. You get them if you manage to take the last bonus tile when you recall of a stack. There's different stacks in the different areas, so that's kind of a timing thing. You want to kind of like, no, somebody took the next to last one, I want to jump in there, use my last one, and then recall and get that reputation. You get a reputation when you take the last treatise, like the 15-point treatise, you get reputation. You get reputation if you fill out your board completely. And then there's these goals, which makes it even more a race, because you have these kind of achievements. They're called location goals, which is kind of, achievements. You want to do this thing, that thing, and all different things you can race towards. And the first player who does that gets some few points, 3 points, which is not a lot in the game, and also the reputation. So it's one of those games where it will escalate.
Yeah.
You will, in the beginning, you will do stuff, maybe get a reputation, wow, get one more. And then suddenly people are getting close to those goals, and maybe I only need like 3 actions to get 2 more of those goals, or to get that last one to get the reputation, and boom, the game is done. So it's looking at that, knowing, trying to feel, okay, how much can I squeeze out of that? And basically, it's very interesting, and I really like that.
Yeah. Are we...
Let's go to the next part.
Yeah.
That's what you want to ask.
Yes.
Wait! And who is it for?
Yeah, I think this is like heavy medium game.
Okay, yeah.
I think for me, I think that if you like crunchy Euros, this is for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think like it has so many elements, so you need to enjoy like having to multiple pots in your mind, all these different mechanisms. It's very weird because the actions in themselves aren't that complicated, and there's not many of them. It's not like a feast for only where you have like, good luck, 60 action spaces. It's only 9, and none of them are very hard. Like, one is take 3 resources, one is upgrade 2 things, one is draw a card. Like, it's very simple, and 3 of them is take a technique tile. That means like there's 3 of them and one of them is play a card. So all of them are very simple, and that's kind of weird and interesting actually, that those core elements that you do are not hard, but all of the sprawling and trying to get the combos, trying to get all of these different things are more interesting. I think this game is for people, as you said, who like crunchy euros. You said like very distilled. You said like people who like heavy crunchy euros. I feel like if you enjoy games that has you juggle a lot of different thoughts, has you juggle a lot of different mechanisms, but it's still super smooth, because this game is very smooth. All the things you do are simple, but all in all it makes it a very crunchy experience. I think this is for you. I think basically if you enjoy a great looking game, if you enjoy a good theme, like I feel like this has a very good theme. If you're into thematic Euro games, we don't care so much about the theme, but it's and if you like the mechanisms, or if you like heavy crunchy mechanism games, this is really good. It's not like heavy, but it's let's say medium heavy. I agree with that. It's a lot to think about. Basically, my recommendation is if you enjoy Euro games that has like more than a medium style, and you enjoy involved mechanic Euro games and thematic games, I think you will like this. That's kind of my bottom line for who will like this.
Yeah.
So
I liked it better knowing that, like, my brain realizing that it is a racing game. Because first I was a little put off by it ending when I was having fun.
Yeah.
Because you're building up a little bit, and then you're suddenly like, oh, now I can finally treat this patient, and oh, you have ended the game now. I had so much things I wanted to do. So if you know that you don't like that kind of games, this might not be for you. But when I got in the right mindset, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, so I just, if it wasn't clear from the rest of the video, I really like this game.
Yeah.
I think this game is so much fun. Like, it is one of the like I'm looking forward to play it next year again, to see like where it ends up next year, because we don't know all the games that comes up next year. But this is a game that I think you should be looking out for. If you watch our channel and you know what games we like, and you feel like you like the same kind of games, I think you will like this game. This for me is just have all of the nice crunchy decisions. It has a smooth gameplay, not too long, 2 hours with 4 players, and 2 of them hadn't played before. So much Euro goodness going on in a okay amount of time. Just a super fun game. Highly recommend it to check out the Kickstarter.
Yes, I agree with everything you said. So check out the Kickstarter if you think this sounds fun.
And that is the end of this video. If you are still here and you haven't subscribed, you can do so now. Bye.
Clicking the subscribe button is fun and it's free. It makes us happy, like this. If you want to do something that's not free, you can.
Go to patreon.com/boardgamingramblings and support us there. And that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Johannes.
I'm Sunniva.
And you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and bye bye.